In 2026, everything's a club. Church is a club. The gym is a club. Neighborhoods are clubs. Even if they're not official, like golf clubs, like country clubs. They're just neighborhoods in general become clubs. Communities are clubs. This is a big one. Employers, workplaces. The workplace has become a club. It's been like that for a while now. Everywhere I look, everything is a club. All right? Even if you go to the store and it's not Costco or Sam's Club or you know, um uh those stores that require you to have a VIP card. Just in general, any store has become a club. Where I live, out here in Texas, we have a grocery store chain called HEB, founded in Kerrville, Texas, and everybody goes to it. Nobody really buys groceries anywhere else. HEB has become a monopoly, kind of like Apple. So HEB is a club. Even Apple's become a club. Okay, with everyone out here with the latest iPhone 18 Pro Max with you know uh, a huge display that you don't really need. I'm getting off track here. Because in 2026 everything's a club, everyone has begun to lose their originality, and everybody has become addicted to doing what everyone else is doing, fitting in, joining the crowd, not being excluded, right? People are very afraid to be excluded. People are very sensitive to rejection and being ostracized, and the them versus us or us versus them type of situation. Nobody wants to be on the receiving end of that. And as I look around, gyms are, like I said, gyms are clubs, stores are clubs, neighborhoods are clubs. Everybody drives the same truck or car, at the neighborhoods, the same color, everybody, wears the same thing, overall, generally speaking. And this matrix society, all right, wants people to do that. They want people to become part of the herd, and they program us to not branch off and go our own direction. And this is not limited to gender or age or race or anything like that, or religion. Both men and women are guilty of this, and we both genders have work to do. I'm not perfect either. I could stand to improve myself, and I try to continue to do that, but because everything's a club, when you stand out in any way, shape, or form, maybe maybe you look different, maybe your appearance is different, maybe you dress different, maybe you have different worldview than the collective general public, maybe you have your own, you speak out against things, and in the workplace especially, people see you don't need validation, you don't need to fit in, not because you're better than everybody. Well, you kind of are, because you are, you've bettered yourself, and your behavior is good. So in a way, yes, you are better than other people, but you're not rubbing it in people's faces. You're low key. You're quiet about it. You just mind your own business, keep your head down. Try to you stick out, but even when you try to blend in with other people and be part of the herd, I mentioned this in a video last week, even if you try to fit in, you can't cut it. you could do everything they're doing. You could talk like them, walk like them, dress like them, have the same world views they do, you know, and you'll still stick out like a sore thumb. All right. Um, and so it's unavoidable. So when you do try to fit in just to keep the peace and keep yourself free from drama, drama always seems to find you in these places that are clubs. Okay. And because everything's a club nowadays, or like a club, it's very hard to actually find peace. It's very difficult to remain uh, uh, as you're in these places that are like clubs. Everyone's over here and you're right here, and you become individuated. You've discovered individuation, and people are gonna reject you for that because you're not like them. Even when you do try to, you know, fit in with them, they already know, they feel it in you, that their intuition tells them, just telepathically, supernaturally, that, you know, you're not like them. So what do we do about this? What do we do what do we do in these environments that are like clubs and are like high school environments now, that thrive off of popularity, validation, and competing and comparing. Competing and comparing is a dangerous game, and people like me, we don't compete or compare. We just do what we want to do and stay on track and try to stay focused and try to do our work and try to do our work and do our job, and, you know, find peace in everyday life, find peace in living. But the people, the demons always try to, the demons in people will always try to pop up and kind of derail you. And there's a saying that goes, for those of you watching that are religious, I guess, I think it goes something like, the closer you get, or the higher you climb to your ascension, or your, you know, the closer you get to God, essentially, the more bigger and more intense the spiritual attacks get, because God wants you, but also every time you get closer to Him, the demons want you as well, just as bad. So it's this constant tug of war between yourself. It's a constant tug of war between, you know, what you want to do for, you know, your intuition, what your heart is telling you, and what the dark side on you, you know, the collective, the general, you know, these environments that try and gaslight you and make you feel like you're the problem. Okay, when in reality, these people, you know, with all due respect, these people are the problem, and they won't understand they're the problem. Not to complain or anything, I'm just spitting facts right now. That they don't understand they're the problem, so they're not gonna do the improvement. They're not gonna actually look inside and try and, you know, improve or gain any. They're not interested in actually growing, developing, going on an ascension journey. You know, and when you enter these environments that are like clubs, okay, you're gonna feel the pressure. The pressure is on. You guys know what atmospheric pressure is, right? I think the average atmospheric pressure is 14 pounds, right? 14.2. The average atmospheric pressure is 14.7 pounds, I think, per square inch. That's just the natural weight, right? Like the weight of the atmosphere on you, right? And when you walk into an environment, it's like the atmospheric pressure triples. So instead of being 14 pounds on your shoulder, right, per square inch, you're going to get like 45, 46 square pounds on your shoulder per square inch, because the energy is so intense. The energy is so toxic and so corrupt that even the air you breathe, it's like, you know, I walk into places and I'm thinking, you know, when I walk into one place, I can't wait to leave, and then, you know, get in my car and crank on the AC, or you know, go home and open up a window or something, just to try and release that pressure, because to counter this pressure that it's on, that we feel, people like us, people like me feel that we're not conforming, and we feel that people are, I can pretty much, when I'm around people physically, I can pretty much read their energy, and I know, because I've been experiencing this for such a long time, that I can pretty much almost anticipate people's thoughts and anticipate their attitude toward me. So when people look at me, all it takes is one look. People look at me, and I instantly can clock their energy, and I'm thinking, whoa, that person does not want me here. So it's like you got to keep moving. You got to find a way to take your energy in an environment, like I talked about yesterday. Take your energy to a high vibrational environment. For me, I haven't been to a beach in a very long time. I've been hiking, somewhat recently, but I always like to go to the water, to the beaches, because it's just a high environment, the water and the sand and just open space. Also mountains and hiking, very high frequency there. Most people I encounter that are on hikes or that are at the beach, actually, they're in a good mood, because like I said yesterday in my video, go and check it out, by the way, is that when you have people in a high vibrational environment, even if they're really toxic, they automatically, just being in this environment, nature is going to raise the frequency. So these people their frequency is going to raise a little bit at least. So when I used to hang out with people, hang out with friends, I would try and take them out to, like I said, the beach. When I lived in California, I remember I went to Davenport Beach over by Santa Cruz, and these people, they weren't the best friends, but they were the friends I used to have. And when we were at the beach, I remember they were like, their vibration raised a little bit. I could tell. So, and even people in my family, I would go hiking with my grandpa, and his vibration would elevate as soon as we started hiking up the mountain. And it's really interesting how that works. Energy is amazing. Energy is crazy. And it's a tool. You have to use it as a tool, but since everything's a club nowadays, and like I said yesterday in one of my other videos, authenticity is dead, fake is the new real. All people care about pretty much is image, status, material, money, what you have, what car you drive. And there are people out there that do have status, wealth, and have a nice car. And they're not attached to it. They don't link their identity to those things. Those people are very, very, very rare. All right, those people are authentic because they don't let their material things carry them away. But again, that's very, very rare. Most of the time, people are tied to what they have and what they own and what they look like, and how pretty or how handsome their boyfriend or girlfriend is, or husband or wife or spouse, and or partner. And they don't actually they're not appreciating what they have for what it is. They're not grateful. They're not, they don't see their partner, their spouse or whatever for who they truly are as a person. And with everyone's living life walking around in this club mentality, right? Like, to basically everyone treats life like a club, and to the membership to be part of this club is to have nice things, be good looking, have a lot of money, have material, have be fake, make sure your perception is you're perceived a certain way, make sure your image is a certain way, say the right things, be careful what you say, choose your words carefully, people please, be a simp, chase validation, attention, whatever it is, people that people that people want, whatever it is people think they gotta do to be part of this club. All right, that people treat life like this, and it's really sickening. There's certain places I just can't even work anymore. I used to work at a coffee shop a long time ago. I was a cashier, and then they moved me up to a barista, but I didn't like it, so they put me back to the cashier. And I remember, every day when I go to work, it's just completely the conversation between my coworkers and the customers was so fake that I didn't even want to be there anymore. I didn't want to hear this stuff, And like I got a couple family members who also work at coffee shops, and one of them is actually a bartender as well. And I hear the same stories when they talk about certain things. They say this like the same thing, the same stories, pretty much the same content in their conversations, the same stories from customers. They the stories they tell about their customers. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm like, I don't know how people do it, but people will do anything to be part of a club. And it's getting to a point where, like I mentioned in my video yesterday, I think that, not that this is a wise choice, but I am, I am, I think that the people who are truly free, not that their struggles are invalid, and I'm sure lots of people who are homeless are struggling, but most of them don't even understand that they are actually very free, because it's like they have nothing pretty much, and they could start over anytime they want, if they have the tools and that they have the will to do so, the choice, right? They're very free. When I worked in California, I remember I worked in a city outside of San Francisco for a little bit, and there were a lot of homeless people, homeless population. Okay, and they would come in and be super, free spirited people. A lot of them were very positive people. They made me, uplift me a lot, because I've realized that when you have nothing, you really are free. And again, I'm not invalidating them. I'm not invalidating their struggles. I'm not invalidating their suffering, or whatever they're going through, addiction, pain, disabilities. I'm not invalidating any of that. Everybody deserves the goodness, every piece of good they can get, they deserve. But I just, from a different lens, I could understand that these people were very free, especially the ones that were very jovial and like happy and positive that I interacted with. And I would get scoldings from my supervisor, like telling me not to give them free water, not to give them a cup of ice, not to give them hot water. And I remember telling my supervisor once, it just takes 2 seconds to give them hot water, like it's right behind me. And so eventually I talked to my manager about it, and he said that, yeah, just do it, but every time you give them a free cup of hot water, remind them they should buy like a tea bag or something, and like try to upsell, right, for like $1 or $2. And I remember I never did that. I just still kept giving people cups of ice, water when they asked, the restroom code, because we had a little bathroom code on our door. This was a long time ago. This was like back in 2019, 2020. And, 2019, 2020, 2017, 18. I was working there. And, yeah, it just had taught me a lot, working at the jobs I've worked at. Anyways, I'm getting off topic here, but if life is a club, I don't want to be a member by being part of this club that is always looking for validation and chasing the next thing. I'll be part of life, I'm on the world, but I'm not of the world, okay? I'll participate here, but being conscious and aware as I am, people don't like that. And you probably experience the same thing, is that people are going to give you pushback. They're going to, they're not going to like who you are, because you're not like them, okay? Because you don't want to be part of the club, and even if you do, like, let's say you do go to the gym, let's say you're at a workplace that is treating work like a club and like super important, and like this is treating the workplace like it's the FBI, like it's super important, and like you gotta be even if you're part of that, I encourage you to still remain detached, because you could get fired any day, you can get let go, you're replaceable. And just like me, I'm replaceable in these workplaces. I'm replaceable and within my family, right? I've developed enough to see right through their BS pretty much. So anyways, guys, we're at the 20-minute mark in this video. But yeah, it's crazy, like everything's just so clubbed and faked and everything, clubbed up and faked up. That's what I'll call it. And it's unfortunate, but we got to keep going and keep being strong, because we're not part of this club. We're on the world, but we're not of it. All right. So give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and comment. help the algorithm out and let it help the algorithm do its job. And I hope y'all have a good day.